Hi, welcome to this video of PowerShell training. In this video, we will discuss about some of the important topics that are very important for you to understand while using PowerShell for Windows administration. So let's start with that. So first of all, we will check how to know your commands or get the commands which you don't know. So there is a simple command called get command, and let's say if you want to search a command for services, you add star at the start and the end and hit enter. So it will show all the services, all the commands with respect to services word. If I just check service, let's do that again. You get to know all the commands which are related to service. Similarly, you can use a shortcut or alias for this command, which is gcm, and let's try to search the command for event logs or event. Okay, so this is how it is. It will show all the commands which are available for the keyword that you are searching for. Now, usually what I do is, if I have to search for a command, I use Google or Microsoft reference so that I get more and more options for multiple commands. Sometimes there are multiple ways to get some details or execute some action. So on internet you get more options rather than searching the inbuilt get command options. If you have to check for official documentation of any command, you have to use a command called get help, then the command name, let's see, get process, and we mentioned that I need to check online. So what it does is it goes for the Microsoft documentation of that command, wherein you can see the syntax, description, and the examples of that command. Okay, now let's move on to the next section or topic, which is execution policy. In order for you to run your commands or scripts efficiently, you should know what is the execution policy on your computer or remote computers. So if I execute this command, get execution policy, it is right now unrestricted. But what I can do is I can set it in a different way. So these are the different types: all signed, bypass, default, remote sign, restricted, undefined, and unrestricted. So it is very important that you match the execution policy as per your security compliance, and there is a very good documentation on Microsoft available for this one. So all signed means all the scripts required to be signed by a trusted publisher. Bypass means the execution policy will not be checked. Default is restricted for all Windows clients, and remote sign for Windows servers. Remote sign means it requires a digital signature from trusted publisher on script and files that are downloaded. Restricted means this is the default policy for Windows clients, and it does not allow any script to be executed, but you can execute commands. And there are two more, undefined and unrestricted. So most of the time I recommend to use remote signed, which is more secure and reliable to execute the scripts. You can go through this documentation for more details, but if at any point of time you are getting any errors related to execution policy, you have to come back and check your execution policy with this command, get execution policy. And if you have to change it, let's say we have to change it, you use this command, set execution policy to, let's say, restricted. It will ask for a warning message, click yes to all, and now let's see if it has changed. Yeah, it is restricted. Please make a note that in order for you to change the execution policy, you need administrative privileges to change it. Let's go back to unrestricted for now. Not only for execution policy, but for certain commands, if you are executing them, maybe for remote computers or local computers, the user access control might block the execution. In that case also, you need to run the PowerShell as administrator so that the required privileges are used for execution. Now let's discuss about the error action preference. So we can define in our script what the script should do if there is an error message for any command. So let's see error action, and these are the different options that we use: continue, ignore, inquire, silently continue, stop, and suspend. So this can be done for a specific command, or what we can do is we can define a variable which is called error action preference, and we can mention the preference which is silently continue. Now when we declare this variable for a script, then for entire script all the error messages will be suppressed, and you will not be able to see if there is any error or typo or any mistake in your code. That's how it is. Now let's move on to the next section, that is called the method and properties. For any command, or let's see a process, if you want to know what all things this command can do, there is an option called get member which you can run with the command. You have to pass this command through pipeline and use get member. When you run this command, you get to know what all things this command can do. So in member type you get to know what things this command can do. So there are two important member types. The first one is method and the second one is property. Wherever you see method, that means this is the associated action that this command can do: kill, refresh. So basically method is nothing but the actions that can be performed using this command, and property is nothing but the information that can be captured or pulled with the help of this command. So just remember, when you execute get member, the method is for actions and property is for information. Let's move on to the next thing. Now there are certain commands, for example get ACL, which cannot be executed remotely on remote computers. So if we see, we don't see any computer name parameter over here, but if we try to execute get process, it gives an option as computer name. So this can be executed directly on remote computers. But if you have to execute these commands on remote computers. So there is a method called invoke command. So basically this is a command which can be executed from this computer on a different computer. So the syntax is very simple. You create a variable with any name, and inside curly brackets you mention the code whatever you want to execute. Let's say I want to get the ACL permissions for this local folder, and what you do is you use invoke command, then computer name. I will use localhost in this case, but it can be a remote computer, and script block and the name of variable. Simple enough. Invoke command on remote computer and the command name with script block. So let's try this out and let's run. Usually it gets executed. Yeah. So remember, along with the output, this invoke command gives an extra header or column about the owner, about that computer. Okay. Now if you see any errors for invoking a command on remote computer, or let's say you are not able to execute any command like get process computer name, if you get any kind of error, there are two services which are very important for this, which is WinRM and remote registry. So on remote computers, these two services needs to be started if you are going to run some commands or get information, any action through PowerShell from one computer to another computer. Okay, now let's discuss about the modules. For Windows, most of the things are included in PowerShell, but some technologies like Active Directory, VMware or DFS and so on and so forth. So for these software applications or modules, the commands are not inbuilt or included by default. So what you have to do is you have to install the modules for these particular applications so that the commands included for these applications are get installed onto your computer. So to install a module, there is a simple command called install module and the name of module. Let's say in this case I use Active Directory. For this one as well, you need admin privileges to install. This will give me some warning message and let it get installed. It will download from the repository and install it. Okay, that's how it works. So there are a lot of okay, no match was found. All right, so I got some error message, but all in all, this is the command that we have to use to install specific modules. Sometimes we get some installables for specific modules like VMware Power CLI, or there are different methods on installing these specific modules. So what you have to do is you have to refer the respective documentation or the installation instructions how that module can be installed. Once that module is installed, you can use the specific commands with respect to that particular module to use for PowerShell or managing that particular application through PowerShell. That's how it is. I hope this was informative to you, and I recommend you to practice about these commands whatever we discussed in this video, so that you get more understanding, or you do not get stuck anywhere for troubleshooting or any issues that you are facing. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.